thought tower. The content of thought is the result of something which you gave time and energy to, focused on in the past. It's almost like you built a thought tower, and it can take a while to dismantle it. You know, it can be so firmly established that we have patterns of thinking and things that we prioritize, that hook our attention, and often those could be negative things. You know, we're often looking at things in our life based on there being something wrong, and it's so easy to feel like you've got to put everything right, you've got to change and control everything. But if you actually take the label of there being something wrong away, then it quite quickly dismantles this thought tower. Nothing's as solid as it appears to be, and the thought tower is continually being supported and maintained by our thinking patterns. And this content remains the same. You know, you might notice the thoughts that you have each day. They're repetitive. You have very similar thoughts. There might be a different subject, you know, a different person or a different event or a different occasion or situation. But you may find that the actual thoughts and the themes that you think are very similar, if not the same, each day. And it's so beneficial and transformative just to recognize this, just to start to become more aware of your thoughts, you know, without really even trying to change anything, you know, not trying to think positively. It's much more transformational in a way to just observe, to just notice. You know, when you're watching the thoughts, you're not so identified with them. You know, you start to recognize some space in the experience, to notice that silence, like the space in between the thoughts, for example, just slowing everything down. And speaking things out loud can be very useful, because we tend to think at a really fast rate. So when you're speaking it out loud, it tends to slow everything down a little bit, and then you might notice something in what you're saying, and conclusions you've come to and your approach to life may become more apparent when you speak it out loud, because you may see or hear it differently than when it's just, you know, on this automatic program when you're just thinking. You're not so aware with what you're thinking often. So just bringing some more awareness into it can make such a big difference. And the thought tower then can dismantle itself, just, you know, being under the microscope and you know, now you're seeing it all, and the patterns change in the recognition of them. You make different choices consciously than you know you can unconsciously. Unconsciously, it's always going to be, you know, following the same theme, the same pattern. Nothing's going to change. It's going to continue to repeat. And it's really just by becoming more aware, bringing the unconscious into the conscious, simply by observing, by being curious and paying more attention to the thoughts that you are having. So you see the patterns, and then just in that recognition, things start to change. Your relationship with your mind changes. There's more space now. Everything's slower. And when it's slower, you can see more. Everything is clearer. You have more clarity. And with clarity comes, you know, calmness and peace too, and immense joy as well. Just in the presence of being, without getting so caught up in the thinking mind and experiencing life from there. There's a beautiful experience of presence, which is who and what you are, and it's just coming home to self, just in the recognition you're there, you're home, and you rest, and it's peaceful.